All right, welcome to Turn 1 Wild NaKatl, where we're going to talk everything related to grinding MTG events and making content. The idea for this show is going to be to give you a backstage pass into the lives of some serious MTG players, and we're going to cover everything from the expected metagame to the car ride home. I'm going to be your host for this show. My name is Zach Allen. I am a content creator and MTG grinder from Michigan. I play at a store called RAW Hobbies. You might know me from Turn 1 Thoughtseize, also the co-host of that podcast. As for my backstory on Magic, I play a lot of Modern, but I also play Standard and Legacy and Limited, and I am now a Pro Tour player. I like to grind SCGs and Grand Prix. And joining me today, we have Cat Light. Kat, would you like to give them an introduction into yourself?
Hey everyone, my name is Cat Light. I play mostly on the SCG Tour now. I've been grinding the SCG Tour for about a year. I got into Magic about 2 years ago, started in Eldritch Moon a week after the game day. One of my friends decided that he wanted a group of our friends to play Magic, and so he took us all over to his house and taught us how to play Magic. And ever since then, I've dove in headfirst. Started playing at my LGS 6 days a week, then started going to PPTQs, and now I play almost every single Open on the SCG Tour. You might know me from my finish back in April at the Atlanta Team Open, where my team and I were finalists and lost in the finals because we weren't champions. We were finalists. And now I stream pretty regularly on Twitch, and I just play as much Magic as I possibly can because I love the game.
All right, awesome. Well, we've got quite an interesting topic for you guys today. We're going to talk rebounding from successes in Magic. Specifically your first success, but any success will fit for the purposes of this podcast. And let's dive right in. So, Kat, you said you were a finalist in April, correct?
Yes.
And how did that event go for you, just in general?
So on day one, so first of all, the event was with two of my best friends in the entire world, Kwame Gunn and Will Pulliam, which just made it so that I was so excited for the event. We could have gone 0-4 dropped, and I would have had so much fun with them. And it turned into being my first day two. We went 6-2-1, and I'd gone 6-2-1 at 6 events before that, and missed day two barely. And finally, 6-2-1 made day two. And it was I lost it. I was crying and bawling in the hallway. I was just losing it when they told me, because I didn't think we'd made it. And I was just so upset. And then my friend Ben Reagan, ran up to me. He's like, "Oh my God, you guys made it." And I just lost it. I just crumpled into a ball, crying. And because I was so excited. And then on day two, it was just so much fun. Kwame and Will, so I play Bant Spirits, as most people know, or will know now. And I played against humans 3 or 4 times on day two. And so day two was really rough because before M19, humans was a very bad matchup. Sure. And so basically, Will and Kwame carried my ass on day two. I did very well day one. Day two wasn't for me. Then I won. I beat Andrew Jessup in, I think, the finals. Or no, in top 4, I'm sorry. In top 4. And then in finals, it was humans again. And you guys can go back and watch that, where I literally didn't draw a land for 4 turns and then died.
Yikes.
Yeah. But the event overall was so fun. And the entire, every win we got, where I was like, oh my God, are we going to top? First of all, we have a winning record. I was like, oh my God, we're going to top 30 or top 24. I was like, oh my God, we're going to top 16, whatever the breakdowns are for teams. And then it was we have a winning in for top 8. Holy shit. And yep. It was just surreal.
Yeah. No, I mean, that sounds awesome. And I can tell you the first top 8 experience is one you never forget. It's amazing. I mean, honestly, it feels life-changing when it happens, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But, all right, that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to another event after. And let's look at how this kind of changes your perspective as a Magic player. So, you won, and in theory, the next event shouldn't be different at all, right? But it is. So what are some things that are actually different now that you're playing the next event after this top 8 performance?
So for me, I didn't have another event for almost a month because It was like May, it was like graduation season, and so I just didn't have any time. And so my next event was the Invitational. It was my first Invitational too. And there was, I guess because it was the Invitational and people had talked about how much pressure or how stiff the competition was, I didn't feel as much pressure. Like making day 2 would have been awesome. Like I really wanted to, but I didn't. It was just different than playing in an open. And I didn't make day 2. I went like 4-4 and then hung out with my friend the entire day on Saturday and had a ball, had a blast. But the event after that was the Atlanta Open, another Atlanta Open, but it was modern. And on that one, it was an immense amount of pressure because I'd never day 2'd by myself to show that I could do it by myself, and I didn't get carried. It wasn't a fluke, that I was actually a decent Magic player and I could carry myself on my own. And it was a lot of pressure, and my last round was a win and in for day 2 because I was 6-2 going into the last round.
Sure.
And when I won it, and actually, oh my God, there was so much pressure before that round. I was about to throw up because I wanted it so badly.
Sure. No, and I totally understand that feeling. I've been there. I've had that. Now, do you think you would have felt as much pressure if you hadn't, been the finalist at the team event prior?
I think I would have still felt pressure because I had definitely been right at day 2 for so long.
Sure.
But I don't think it would have it wouldn't have been nearly as bad because it would have just been me holding myself to it. It wouldn't have been what I felt like was everyone who had watched me in this finals. It felt like everyone was watching me. And I'd had a lot of people make jokes about like getting carried and me not being able to do it myself and stuff like that. And even though there were jokes, like they still hit home. And so there was
absolutely
definitely the pressure of it feeling like people were like watching me and wanting to see whether or not I could actually do it myself.
Yeah, definitely. So let's look at, you're sitting down to play this win in match for day 2, right? Mm-hmm. What are some thoughts going through your mind, like when you first sit down at the table? Like you haven't even done the die roll yet. You're just pulling out your deck, all that stuff. What's going through your mind right there?
Please don't be fucking Tron. I was literally like, if they had gone like turn 1 Urza's Tower, I was just gonna lose my shit. It was gonna be so bad. That was probably my first thought, and then after that, it was I can do this. Like I've already won 6 matches. I've never won 7 matches on a day 1 ever, and I was like, this is my time. This is my time to do it. Like I've got this. And that's really just me lying to myself because inside I'm like, I don't got this. But I'm like trying to like build myself up and give myself a pep talk so that I don't go in there already doubting myself, but I go in there playing the best Magic that I can.
Sure. And do you think there's any like thought of what people are going to think going through your mind, or are you just kind of focused on yourself here?
There's definitely in the back of my head going, if I don't get this, like, well, what does that like mean about me to other people who are like watching me? And like I'm tweeting every single round, and like I have people responding like, you got this, and I'm just like, I don't want to let those people down. I don't want to let down myself. I don't want to have to like deal with the more of the jokes of you got carried, because those just suck so much.
Sure.
And it was definitely like some of the about other people, but it was also just really me proving to myself that it wasn't a fluke, that the finals was, we got there because we all 3 of us deserved to be there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't think you can do well in a team tournament with a player that does nothing, right? Like I've heard stories of, the person getting carried through the event where both their teammates went like 13-2 or something, but for the most part that just doesn't happen in these team events, and you kind of need everybody to carry their own weight. And it's like, yeah, you might have lost some bad matchups in day 2, but I'm sure you won some, you won the matchups you needed to in day 1 to get you guys there. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, on the point of that match for day 2, you did end up winning that, right?
Yes, I did. I was 7-2, and other people's matches weren't even done, and I was like trying not to cheer as my opponent looks really upset, and I was like, good luck in the classic tomorrow. and, and I'm trying like not to just start cheering, but as soon as they got up and I like had my match slip in my hand, I like turned around and my friends were behind me, and I was just like, I made it! Yes! And I like flipped out, and everyone else like looked at me like still playing their match of Magic. I was like, oh, whoops. Whoops, my bad, y'all.
Go back to playing, please.
Yeah, and then like out to the parking lot, I was like skipping, like spinning around in circles because it was just such a great feeling to feel like I had earned it myself.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that is 100% validating, but again, this is Magic. There's another event after that, right? Mm-hmm. So you made day 2, and that's awesome, but we got to come back in a month from now and play another event.
Yeah.
And it never stops. It's part of this game, and you're going to lose a lot more in Magic than you win. That's just the reality of the game. Nobody wins all the time, and even the best players in the world still lose a bunch. And it can be really tough once you've won to kind of live up to those expectations. It can kind of feel crushing for sure.
Yeah.
So I know we were talking pre-show. We kind of touched on how all of the results after your first win are going to look bad in comparison. And I think we mentioned that if you top 8 an event and then the next event you come back and you top 16, well, the top 16 looks bad, right? It's tough. Mm-hmm. But if you hadn't top 8'd that event before and then you get top 16, you just get a top 16. Well, the top 16 looks amazing. So, it's strange that people look at the same result through a different lens, and it can be positive or negative depending on prior results. But that is the reality in Magic, and it creates pressure, and you start getting a reputation of your typical finish to live up to. So let's kind of dive in to this pressure that's being created and what this means for a player, I guess, for a grinder. So you have these 2 great finishes under your belt. Mm-hmm. How did this change how you went about preparing for events, or how you went into, I guess, just attending events in general?
Yes. So after the one in April, I'd already had plans. Like as soon as the next SCG schedule came out, I was booked for as many as I possibly could. I put them in my calendar. I let my boyfriend know. I was like, I'm going to be at all of these. And he was like, and I was like, there's not really a question about it. It's just letting you know. And he was like, okay. And definitely, I loved the feeling of winning and feeling like I had done something relevant. Feeling relevant on the circuit that I was putting so much time into was like really fulfilling. And so then we top 8'd, and then the next Atlanta event I top 32, and then we went to like another Philly team open, scrubbed that, and then scrubbed the classic, like it was bad, and I was just like, okay, well, it's fine. I hadn't played in a little bit, there'd been like a break, and I hadn't been able to prep as long, but then like the next one at Indianapolis, I top 64, and everyone's like, well, you cashed, that's great, like you weren't even making day 2. I played like shit.
Oh no.
I can look back at my little life pad and remember every single match, and I messed up. Like I made massive misplays, and I just didn't get punished for it. Like I played like actual trash, and it was just like, well, what happened to me back in Atlanta? Like just the one in June or the one in April, like why am I not playing like I did back in Atlanta? And that kind of like pressure on myself. It's like there was like this finish, and like that finish was fine. It wasn't I should be happy because I was making day 2, and I hadn't even been doing that before, but I was also just like I didn't even deserve it because I played like trash, and I was like, I just can't maintain this image of being a good Magic player if I'm playing like shit. And it was just there's like this weird pressure where it's like not just finishes, but you also have to like actually play well, and like you have pressure on 2 different fronts.
No, I mean, you're totally right about that. And I know for myself personally, I've top 8'd I top 8 at a team open too. That was my first top 8 at a major event. And, afterwards, it really did feel like every single event I went to, I was, I had pressure to top 8 again. And I didn't for a very long time. I didn't top 8 any events. In fact, I still haven't top 8 an SCG since then. But, I've had a lot of close calls. And each one, I got 9th place twice in consecutive Cincinnati Opens right after those, right after my top 8. And, it felt terrible, but to be honest, like if I hadn't top 8 before, getting 9th twice would be incredible. It'd be like, oh, I'm right on the door. I'm knocking, like the results are about to come.
Mm-hmm.
And, they haven't necessarily come yet, but, I think something you touched on was, you got to up your play. Like the results are something we all look at and we kind of just think, hey, I need to get this result. I need to get that result. And in reality, it's like the results are a lot of times out of your control. It's like you can do well in an event, but to be honest, like if you're going to top 8 an event that has 1,000 people in it, I mean, that is like less than 0.1% of the field, 0.01, right?
Yep.
No, it's 0.1. It's less than 0.1.
Yeah, less than 0.1.
Yeah. Like even if you play really well, you still need to get lucky. In fact, like one of the things we talk about, in our like little testing group is, not only do you have to play well, you have to play well enough to put yourself in a position just to get lucky to top 8 these.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like when you get these top 32 finishes, they're actually good. That just shows that you're playing well. And, when you get the top 8, it means you played well and you got lucky. And, I'm sure you can top 8 without playing well, but you would need to get insanely lucky. And that's more like winning the lottery. Like it happens, but it's not, it might happen once. It's not going to happen a bunch. So, I think you're totally right in the you need to up your your just actual play, just your ability to play Magic if you want to continue to put up these results. And I think getting that first top 8 really is a big push for a lot of people where it's like, wow, I did this now. Maybe I need to start putting more hours practicing. Maybe I need to get on Magic Online and start grinding a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
Have you experienced that? Do you feel like you're practicing more now?
So I actually, because of me trying to capitalize on the little bit of publicity that we got with the finals finish, and also trying to start. So I started streaming, and I started promoting myself on Twitter, and this all happened at the same time as like when my day job got super, super busy.
Sure.
And I was working like 60, 70 hours a week. And so I actually found that I was playing on Magic Online less, even though I'm trying so hard to like replicate that finish and do it again and show that I'm a decent Magic player. I don't want to say good because I'm not. I don't think I'm good. I think I'm decent.
Sure.
And so that I'm a decent Magic player who can put up consistent finishes. And it was just like I was being pulled in that direction and pulled in work and pulled in 8 literally feels like 18 different directions. And so I did not find that I was actually playing Magic Online more, but I was still under the same pressure to try to put up these finishes and these results and play better. And for me, it's like at a tournament, if I could have someone like watching over my shoulder the entire time, I would rather play a tournament where someone I trust that I know is a good Magic player is like, I think you made every single decision correctly, and then me not win a single match and know that I played well because I'm putting myself in the best position to be able to win later than actually finish and play like shit.
Sure.
But I did not find myself having the time to put in all the time to practicing online, which just also made the pressure even harder, like even worse.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe you feel like you should be practicing more and you just time constraints, you just can't, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that happened. I mean that's just life. That's gonna happen, right? So it's like, I have a day job too, and the weeks where I can't play as much Moto because I'm staying after work trying to get some extra work done, to meet whatever goal we have coming up. You feel it. You feel like you're kind of letting yourself down. You're not dedicated enough, and it's definitely tough. But I think overall, just having that drive, like, hey, I need to get better. I need to get better as a player. And doing what you can at the time to actually accomplish that, I mean, that's what's going to carry you here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe you're not able to play right now. Maybe you're working a lot, but maybe in 6 months from now you'll have a lot more time. And as long as you're learning right now, that's what matters. So, hopefully we can get better. And ideally with this podcast, as we keep going, I hope that it makes, both of us and our listeners better, because, you can improve your gameplay, but I think you need to kind of improve everything to be a better Magic player. The gameplay, the mentality, and kind of just look at everything. So ideally, that's what we're going to bring you here. And, all right, after, sorry, that's wrong. So ideally, that's what we're going to bring you here. And moving forward, let's look at some results that we just had this past weekend. So we kind of gave you this backstory, and now we both went to Baltimore last weekend to play an SCG event. And we both kind of had some different things going on. So, Kat, why don't you tell us what you played in Baltimore and, kind of what happened to you?
Okay. So, Baltimore was not my finest. Actually, it wasn't even not my finest showing. It was the worst record I've ever had in an SCG event. I was playing Bant Spirits, my baby, the deck I've been working on for about a year, and I went 2-5. And I actually went 1-3. I was at 1-4, and I forced myself to play 2 more rounds. Even though I was there was no way I was making day 2, because first of all, I was like, obviously I need to fucking practice because I'm trash. Yeah. And then second, I was like, I need to remember what it feels like to play Magic for fun.
Sure.
I have nothing on this line now. I can't even day 2. I need to remind myself why I play this game. And so I forced myself to play 2 more rounds. And I even had, in my last round, I was going to play all 9, and then one of my friends also got his 4th loss, and so we were like, let's just hang out instead. And I was like, please. But in my last round, I played against a burn player who was obviously he had a foiled deck, but also didn't seem to know his way around the deck very well, so I'm assuming he borrowed it, or I'm not really sure, but he had a lot of questions. And I was playing on this front where I was I'm being competitive, no, I'm not gonna tell you how my spell queller works. And then after he learned the hard way how spell queller works, if you try to target it, it's like targeting on the stack, if you kill it. And he just had a lot of questions for me after game 1, and I realized I'm dead for day 2. Why am I being an asshole? Why am I playing this competitive player that's not engaging with their opponent, and I could be helping him become a better player. And it just kind of hit me I started playing Magic because I love the game and I love interacting with my opponents, and I need to playing these last 2 rounds really just showed me I can. It's so much more important to me to foster this community where we all like each other and want to play this game and want to have all of us have fun doing it, regardless of whether or not we're winning. And it was just really important to me. It just kind of rejuvenated that desire for me to make Magic a game that's fun for everyone. And so even though I went 2-5, I learned some valuable lessons. One, I need to stop autopiloting, because I found that I was making really, really dumb plays. I lost to that burn player because I just did something super dumb, and I did it, and I'm oh, well, now I'm dead. And then he top decked something, and I was yeah, and there it is. That's why I'm dead. Okay, cool. It was I just immediately knew it. I was just autopiloting really badly. And then I also learned Magic, even though it is about winning, or it's fun to win, it's not all about winning.
No, you're 100% right on that. And I think, the community is one of the biggest things in Magic. So, if you're losing and you're being a bad sport, that's a recipe to give yourself a terrible weekend. It's not going to be fun for other people, but at the same time, it's just going to be the worst on you, right? So I think you kind of approach that with the right mentality. But yeah, so I know that the main event didn't go exactly as you planned it.
Just a little off.
Yeah, a little different. But I also know that you had been joining us in kind of my team / crew's Google Hangouts to practice before. And when I'd seen you in there, you weren't playing Bant Spirits all the time. In fact, you've been more playing another deck. So you want to give us a heads up as to what that was?
Yes. So in the Classic, I played Storm and had an absolute blast. I went 3-5. And I fucked up gifts piles left and right and like missequenced things, but then it was like it immediately punished me, and I immediately could see like what I did wrong. But trying to build a gifts pile is some of the most fun I've ever had. You're
sure.
like, what is like you have to have perfect threat assessment if you're like trying to deal with something like a hate piece. You have to like realize like if you have multiple hate pieces, like which was the one you need to deal with? Do you actually need to deal with them? Can you power through it? Can you? Oh my gosh! And it was just, it was so fun. Like it made me think so much, and like because I was thinking about every single play so much, I realized that I wasn't thinking that much when I played Spirits, and that I was probably going on autopilot, and that just switching to a different deck and like having to play it like a competitive scene and literally just like fuck up left, right. It didn't.
Sure.
It was abysmal, but it was so much fun, and I realized what I was doing wrong when playing another deck. And so I was really happy that I expanded or attempted to expand like my repertoire of decks that I can attempt to pilot. And I was really happy I did that, and because it also has made it to where when I'm playing Spirits, I'm trying to be much more mindful and deliberate with each play I'm making, and still working on that. If y'all watched my stream the other night, I'm not really succeeding in that, but I'm trying very hard.
Sure. Well, I think that's gonna lead us into our next topic of, getting pigeonholed into certain archetypes based on past success. But before we get into that, I'd like to give kind of my backstory on Baltimore.
Oh yeah, I was about to say and what did you do in Baltimore? Because you did something super fun. I want to hear about it.
Yeah. So, let me preface this by saying, I've been playing Modern for a while now, and I kind of started playing during the Splinter Twin days, where the whole format was like Splinter Twin versus Birthing Pod, and then there was like kind of Jund and Tron and like some other decks. But there was Splinter Twin and Birthing Pod, and then there were other decks you shouldn't be playing. And during those days, I preferred to play blue decks. That's kind of where I've always come from. That's what I prefer to play. So it was natural to just pick up Splinter Twin. And every time I picked up Splinter Twin, I did terrible. Every event I showed up, I just could not win with the deck. It was multiple events where I'd be playing like anything. I played Burn, I played Jund, I played Jeskai at SCGs. I day 2'd all of them. And then I played Splinter Twin, I went 1-5. And I was like, well, that has to be just like a one-time thing. Let's try again. We'll try Jeskai Splinter Twin. I go like 0-4 drop. It's like, what is going on? How am I so bad with this deck? So I like practiced with it, and I practiced with it, and I got to a point where I was winning a bunch with it. And I go to another SCG, and it's like, oh, you just went 2-7. And it's like, what the heck? Like, how am I so bad with this deck? I just could not win with combo to save my life. I just couldn't do it. And so, fast forward 3 years of me playing Modern, I still just stay away from combo every chance I get because I don't do well with those decks. I try to play them, and it's one of my worst archetypes. Give me an aggro deck, I can win with it. I mean, not as well as I could with the blue deck, but I can win with it. Give me a mid-range deck, I'm right at home. Casting some Inquisitions, some Thoughtseizes, maybe a Stubborn Denial or two, getting some value. I can win with those decks. Give me a control deck, I'm probably going to do the best. But, all of a sudden you put a combo in my deck, and I don't even know how to put them together. I just like throw one in the graveyard and discard my hand for no reason, and I just lose. So combo's a disaster for me, and it's something I've been looking to expand, is to kind of add this combo element to my game personally. And so anyway, I hadn't found a combo deck I liked, and I hadn't been playing combo, and I tried KCI. KCI came out, it was kind of a combo deck. I tried Storm. I'm playing both of these decks, and I can play them well, and they're good decks, but I just don't win with them, and I don't really enjoy playing them as much as I do other decks, I guess. So I just was not doing well with them, and so I kind of just maybe personally told myself maybe I should just like not play combo, just play whatever fair deck is good. And then I think 3 weeks ago at this point, one of my friends is joking. One of my friends asked me, he goes, hey, I want to come to Modern tomorrow at your store. Can I borrow a deck? And I joke, this is at the same time Bant Turbo Fog is doing really well in Standard. And I jokingly like, I had just bought I think it was like I needed fog, so I just like picked up fogs the day before from a store and just like finished putting that deck together. So I jokingly tell him, yeah, here, I'll give you Bant Turbo Fog. He goes, no, dude, I need a modern deck. And I was like, this is a modern deck. All of the cards are modern legal. He's like, dude, stop. Just like, give me a real modern deck. And I was like, all right. I go, but for the record, Turbo Fog is real and modern. He's like, no, it's not. And I was like, all right, okay, you're right. I'm gonna end the charade. And then so I go to work the next day, and I'm sitting down at my desk, about to get started on my actual work for the day. And the Turbo Fog thing just like wasn't leaving me. I was like, is Turbo Fog real? Is this like an actual deck you can play in Modern? And I was like, you know what? Let's hop on Gatherer. I have work I need to do, but I'm gonna get on Gatherer and probably get yelled at for this, but whatever.
That's so we all do at work. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine, right? Yeah, so I hop on Gatherer and I'm just like looking through cards, and it's just like I'm like kind of pulling out memories of cards I have that are like in the blue-white colors that could kind of be related to this Turbo Fog archetype. And I'd played the Standard deck a couple times, so like I kind of got what it was doing, and it was like, how can we like replicate this? Because when it's doing its thing, it feels very unfair. And like, is there a way to make that happen in Modern? So I build this deck, and it's like they were playing green before in Bant Turbo Fog, obviously in Standard. And it was like, you can play green in Modern, but it kind of puts you in this spot where you can't have as much of everything as you actually need. And the green cards weren't even necessarily better than the white cards in the deck. So I was like, well, if I can play a deck that has a lot of basics, that's a huge bonus in Modern, where it doesn't actually matter in Standard as much. I mean, it matters to some extent, but in Modern, it's like getting basics is a huge deal because it allows you to play on Blood Rune. It allows you to not get destroyed by Field of Ruin out of blue-white decks, and there's a lot of reasons why you want to play basics in Modern. So it's like, all right, I'm going to try a blue-white deck, and I build this Turbo Fog deck, and I get on my Google Hangout with my friend. I think we played Modern that night, but we get on the Google Hangout the next day, and I get all the cards I need for this deck, and we're like, well, let's play this Turbo Fog deck through a Modern event. And we play it, and we go 1-3, and it did not go particularly well. But when we were playing, some of the games kind of turned out to be actually, the deck felt really powerful. It was just like, it's not built right at all. There's some things that are wrong here. Let's see if we can tune it a little bit. Let's try one more league. And so, we kind of take what was going wrong with the deck the first league and go to the second one. And in the second league, we go 4-1. Oh. And it was like, whoa, like, maybe there actually is something here. It's kind of inconsistent, and something's not right about the deck yet, but it turned out Teferi is a really messed up card.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
yes.
Yep. And he's really good in control decks, but he's better in combo decks, actually. So if you have like a weird combo way to protect Teferi, he just kind of is like a 1-card combo, which, as it turns out, is great for me because I can't figure out how to put 2 cards together. So just having a 1-card combo was very good. But yeah, seriously, the combo with Teferi is just like Teferi and Time Walks. Like, you get up to his emblem and nobody can beat that. And the problem with Time Walks is that if you're going to keep going off with Time Walks, you kind of need like a Phyrexian Arena type effect where you're just drawing extra cards because you need to keep drawing Time Walks into lands to like churn through your deck and find more Time Walks. And Teferi's perfect at all of those. So as it worked out, turning your Phyrexian Arena into your win condition and your Time Walk deck was really busted, and it just let you just like play like a semi-fair game casting fogs the first couple turns, and then you just run away with the game with your Time Walk effects. And kept testing online, kept trying different stuff, finally found a version I was pretty happy with and take it to Baltimore. I had been playing Blue Moon before this and had a ton of success with Blue Moon, and was going to play it there. And then my friend's like, dude, you need to play Turbo Fog tomorrow. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to play Turbo Fog tomorrow. So show up to Baltimore. I'm playing Turbo Fog.
When you told me, I was so excited for you to play Turbo Fog. Like, when people play, like, decks that are kind of like, they're like jank quote decks, but like, you're like, I've been putting up results on Magic Online. You're like, this is actually like a good deck. And they just like go out of the blue and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm running it tomorrow. It makes me so happy.
Oh my god, I honestly have not had that much fun at a Magic event in years. Like, to be honest, the deck is not that good. It's fine. It's like probably pretty clearly like tier 2, 2.5, 3 range, somewhere in there. But it is powerful, and when it does its thing, it feels unbeatable, which, is kind of something a lot of modern decks do. But yeah, so I show up and I'm playing it, and right away I play against Spirits round 1, and I get crushed, and I'm 0-1, and it's like, oh no, what did I get myself into? This is going to be a disaster. But as it turned out, the Spirits guy he had pretty good draws against me, and he played well, and he just kind of kicked my butt. So, I go to my next couple rounds, and then all of a sudden I just start winning, and I'm 4-1, and I'm playing my match in round 5, and I'm playing against a blue-white control player and just smashing him. And this judge walks past me and sees me playing and just stops and watches my whole match, and I'm like, what's wrong? Am I like using marked cards? Does he think I'm like cheating or something? What's going on? And then after the judge is like, your deck is awesome. I was like, oh, shoot,
that's amazing.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Yes.
And so I'm talking to the judge. They're like, I actually play turns. This deck is amazing. Can you give me your list? I was like, I've never had an interaction like this with the judge. This is awesome. This is so much fun. So I'm like talking to them, and then Nick Miller walks past us, and the judge goes, Nick, come here. And Nick Miller's like, what? And he like comes over, and he's the guy that does deck techs for SCG, by the way, and like I think he chooses feature matches or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And she's like, you got to put this guy on feature match. You got to do it. And he's like, what? Why? And I was like, I'm playing Turbo Fog, I guess. I don't know. And he's like, oh, we'll put you on a feature match. I was like, okay, sure. He's like, are you actually winning with it? I was like, I'm 4-1. I don't know. He's like, yep, you're on. Next round. I was like, geez, okay. All right.
And you played against Robert Wright, right?
Yeah, I played against Robert Wright.
Yes.
Yep. And I've played against him before, and when I played against him before, I know I was playing Death Shadow before. Maybe it was Mardu Shadow, something like that. Some Shadow variant the time I had played him prior.
He played Esper Shadow in like Columbus.
Sure, that might have been
he
it.
was on Esper Shadow for a while.
I know he's played some Shadow deck, and I played him when he was playing a Shadow deck. And I know that from experience online, Shadow's not a great matchup for Turbo Fog. You kind of just like need them to never draw the card Stubborn Denial.
Yeah.
Like at any point in the entire match, you just can't let them draw that card, which is tough because they have that card in their deck, so they draw it sometimes.
Yep. That's how it goes. Yes, correct.
Yep. But he was not on Death Shadow, and we sit down in the feature matches, or the feature match area, and they're like, all right, you guys can start. And he won the die roll, and he goes, he plays an Arid Mesa, and I was like, oh boy, this could be bad. And he fetches a Sacred Foundry. I was like, that's bad. And then he plays a Goblin Guide, and the actual worst matchup my Turbo Fog deck had was Burn. It was just, it's a disaster. You're like casting fogs, and you're like, I don't care. I'm just gonna lightning bolt you and then lava spike you, and you die.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah, that all happens in bed.
You're like, I'm gonna prevent this 6 damage on the ground, but you're just gonna deal me 12 into my face, so it's fine.
Yep, 100%. And he attacks on camera, and the Goblin Guide flips over an Angel Song, and everyone has like a chance to like kind of read it and laugh. And it's like, yeah, this is this is gonna go bad for me. So I get demolished game 1, but I was prepared for Burn. I put 4 Leyline of Sanctity in my sideboard, and the thing was, if you drew your Leyline, you were like a pretty big favorite to win because like they can kill you through a Leyline. They can cast, Goblin Guides and Eidolons and all of those things, but it takes them a lot longer to kind of get through it because they just can't deal as much damage. And then, by the time they're ready, like they can deal enough damage to actually kill you, you're just kind of going off for your Time Walk effects and you're going to win. So, if you draw your Leyline, you have a pretty good shot. And I mulliganed to 4 looking for a Leyline, never saw it. So, kind of got smashed. Go down to 4-2. End up winning my next 2, and then I'm playing against humans in round 9 when I'm 6-2, I believe. Yeah, 6-2 for a win and in for day 2, I think. Although some people were saying I might be in anyway.
Yeah, X and 3 did make it.
Yeah, X and 3 did. Yeah,
like
X and 3 did end up making it.
Less than 600 people. It was pretty small.
But at the time, the general cutoff is like 6-2-1 or 7-2. So I thought I needed to win, and I'm playing against a humans player, and I never drew a fog in the entire match, and I'm a Turbo Fog deck, and against the creature deck, that's bad. And I was right there both games. It was like if I had just drawn 1 fog in both of the games that I lost. I would have won because I was going off. And it's just like I just need to fog the one lethal turn, and then I got him. And I never drew one, and lost and go 6-3. But ended up making day 2. I mean, I was kind of crushed after the loss, but ended up making day 2, and it was a blast. Playing that deck was so much fun. I got into day 2 and just got demolished all day. My deck was just not cooperating. My opponents, I think, were getting a little luckier than average, but I don't think that's actually super relevant because my deck wasn't cooperating anyway. And, I kind of got...
You kind of got your
yeah, the deck
good.
the deck caught up to me. I got punished and end up I think I finished 8-7. So day 2 was a disaster.
Wow.
But that that happens, and I played against a lot of Gaddock Teagues, which my deck can actually not beat. They just play the card Gaddock Teague, and I just lose to it. Like literally, like they just play a Gaddock Teague. They could do nothing else the rest of the game, and I can't win. So that was. I had a lot of Gaddock Teagues cast, and I just died. I played against Tron, too, where I was playing 3 Damping Spheres in my sideboard. If I, ever find a Damping Sphere, I generally win that matchup every time. And in both sideboard games, I mulled a 5 and didn't see 1. So it's just, I feel like I got kind of unlucky, but at the same time, magic happens and whatever.
Mm-hmm. And that's just sometimes how the game goes. And we've all been there where it's like, well... I came ready for this with all these sideboard cards. I'll play against KCI. I bring in 12 cards in Bant Spirits. Sure. And there have been so many matches where I'm trying to mulligan, just give me a Stony Silence or rip something. And it's just nothing. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, we're on the beatdown plan as we mulled 5. It's fine. It's whatever. We can do this. And then I die.
Yep. No, that's how that happens every time. You never draw the sideboard cards. There's no justice for the fair players in Modern.
Nope.
But yeah, so anyway, I had a lot of fun at the event, and playing combo was, it was awesome. It was a different experience for me. It really opened up my eyes as to, some faults with the deck build, some faults with the way I played it. I kind of feel like I got a little down on myself when I was losing a bunch day 2, and I think some of the later losses just came from just feeling dejected and not playing 100% to my potential. And those are all points that, they're unfortunate. I shouldn't have those, but I did, and there's something to learn from and kind of overcome. So I'm not upset about it. I'm actually very happy with how the event turned out. And moving forward, it gave me a lot to kind of work on with the deck. But for me, and this is going to lead into the next topic, I feel like I really helped myself by kind of getting out of my typical range and playing combo. And you kind of had the same experience, right? Mm-hmm. Where you were playing Spirits for a long time, and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna pick up Storm, I'm gonna play Storm. Then you played Storm, and
it taught me. And so I'm used to playing this tempo creature based deck, and I was just the direct quote that I said to one of my friends was, I'm so sick of having to work so fucking hard for every single win.
Sure.
And I was like, I just want to play a deck where sometimes I get to just free win.
Sure.
And so I picked up Storm, and every Storm player's gonna be like, wait, that's not how Storm works. That's bullshit. I had a turn 2 kill in the Classic where I literally was they were tapped out, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not just gonna run out this bear. I'm gonna play this Rip Morphos Bear, Rip Morphos Gifts, kill them. Turn 2. And I was just like, God, this is what it feels like to just sometimes just have it. And I just wanted to be able to play a deck where I would just have it. But it ended up teaching me about what I was doing wrong, or what I had been doing wrong when playing Spirits, which is going on autopilot and recognizing some relevant thing on a board state. And so I just played out a creature I thought should have been good, but not actually using my brain and thinking about why am I doing this? What am I trying to accomplish with each of these plays? And with Storm, it was because I've never played the deck in paper, I had to sit there and think so much. I actually got a slow play warning in the Classic. I had been playing slow, and the first time the judge warned me. She's like, I need you to speed up your play. And I was like, okay. And then we were in turns, and I'm on turn 4, and I'm storming off. And I maybe took 7 or 8 seconds to make a decision, and then made a gameplay. And she's like, well, this is the second time I've had to tell you, so this is going to be a warning now. And I first of all didn't even know you could appeal that. I was just like, okay. I looked at her, I was like, okay. And I just didn't want to lose my place in my turn. because
Sure.
if I lost it, I was going to get another one. And so I was just like, okay, whatever. And just like kept going. And,
Sure.
But I actually got a slow play warning because I was sitting there trying to so consciously think through everything I was doing.
Well, no, and that's 100% part of like learning a new deck, right? Like that's just going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I actually timed out online with Storm a couple of times because I was just trying to like make sure I didn't fuck it up. And yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that is part of it, but that definitely leads us to the last topic we have today on the mentality thing, and that's when you get pigeonholed into an archetype you won with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe your first time winning, and you kind of stick to that archetype, right? And I know you feel like this has happened for you, right, with spirits?
Yes, definitely. Where like I'm spirit queen, like I'm spirit, like that's what I do is I play spirits, and I love spirits. I love it so much. When I draw my like 7 at a tournament, and like God, I get to see all these spirit cards. Like it makes me so happy. I love playing the deck, and I love it so much. And when it does its thing, like it also feels like unbeatable when it does the things that I want it to do. And then there's just tournaments where it just doesn't cooperate, and I just kind of want to throw it against the wall.
Sure.
Like there's so many bad beat stories. Like I play against bad players, you just like flood, and you're like, okay, well I'm just gonna sit here drawing lands. It's cool. And that happens in every deck. But I definitely have felt like I'm supposed to play spirits because I'm the spirits player, but I'm also wanting to like expand into other decks. But I'm also scared because I've literally only played spirits except for like 2 months where I played Affinity.
Sure.
Like 8 months ago. And so it's like I'm also scared, like what if I'm only good at playing spirits? What if I just can't play other decks? But that's just like a dumb mentality because, well, obviously I can't play them right off the bat, but I'll get there just like I did with spirits. Yeah,
no, that's 100% it. And it's like it's hard because when you switch, it's going to come with a lot of losing, right?
Yes.
And like you already have this pressure to win, but when you switch decks and you haven't played other archetypes a lot, you're going to lose a lot. And to be honest, like when I was testing a Turbo Fog deck, I lost a lot online before I started winning a ton. And like a lot of it was trying to figure out what was going on. But, when I like in past that, when I played Splinter Twin before, I lost a ton. And it was like, it's just part of learning. That's like how Magic works is unless you're John Finkel, you switch decks, it's going to be rough generally. So
yeah.
That's just part of it. And I think I've experienced kind of the same thing where my first top 8, I was playing a Teamer Tower control deck in a format where I had no business playing this control deck. And, even before that, like my success at like local events and other events mostly came with control decks. So it's just like, I'm a control guy. I'm just going to play control all the time. And, there are times where control is good and you should be playing it, but there are times where it's just absolutely not good and you should not be sleeving this deck up. And, if you want to just go play for fun, that's fine. Play whatever you want. But if you're seriously trying to win the event, then you should be playing a deck that's going to give you a chance to win the event. And that's not always the same deck. Like it changes week to week based on, how the metagame looks and whatnot. And, I know personally, like I get this mentality where it's like, all right, I practiced, X deck that I think is well positioned for 2 weeks. I think I'm like pretty good with it, but I think I've played like 5,000 games with Jeskai Control or Blue Eye Control or whatever. It's like I think I know that deck a little better, but it's like, how do I weigh, the better positioned deck that I have less practice with versus the deck I know really well but isn't positioned well at all? And that's really tough. For me, I've almost always defaulted towards playing the deck that I have more reps with, which in turn leads me to just get more reps with that deck. So it just like is this feedback loop that just keeps happening.
Mm-hmm. I definitely have been stuck in that for a while. So
yeah, and it's part of choosing decks at a Magic event, and it's hard. So I think what we did this last weekend, where we kind of forced ourselves out of our comfort zone and played decks is a great way. Even though they didn't go well, even though it was a lot of losing,
mm-hmm.
failed expectations. We had to tell our friends after the event, yeah, this went bad. I think that's a really big step in getting better at Magic, and I think down the line you're going to be seeing a lot more results just because you took this time to expand your range, I guess.
I totally agree with that, and I'm very thankful that I did expand and play Storm. First of all, because I had a fucking blast playing it.
Sure.
And then also because it was a completely different play style, and it like forces you to like think so many turns ahead, and it's just like all of these things about playing Storm is just so different from Spirits. And So I'm also very thankful that I did that. And I also, like, forced myself to, like, break that mold of, like, being the Spirits player. I'm like, no, I can play other decks. Like, I can still be Spirits player and play Spirits regularly, but, like, it's okay to try other decks and fail or succeed, but also just try to have fun playing Magic. And really, this pigeonhole of being, like, the Spirit person is only there because I'm putting it on myself.
Yep.
Like,
no, you're definitely right. Well, and I think, too, like, another thing about having this deck where it's, like, getting pigeonholed into playing the deck repeatedly is not good, but, like, having this deck in your back pocket that is just, like, your go-to, like, your ace in the hole is awesome, because I know for sure in Standard I've had, you know, a lot of events where I was trying 3 different decks and I can't decide what's the best positioned, and, you know, it's like, this deck's good, I can't figure out a list, like, what am I going to do? And it's just like, you know what, I'm just going to play Old Faithful here, and for me, you know, that's control, so I just, what's the best control deck? Sleeve that up, and generally I have success in those events. So, you know, for you, it's like, you know, you might be, all right, I'm going to test Storm, I'm going to test, you know, whatever other deck, and then, you know, you're, like, not happy with any of them, you know, morning of the tournament, it's like, all right, we're sleeving up Spirits, let's see how this goes. Yep,
and there's definitely been multiple tournaments where I'm like, I'm going to play something different, and I just don't end up doing it, either out of fear or out of, like, I'm just not going to go through the effort to find the cards or whatever, and I end up just always going back to Spirits. But
sure. So
when it comes to, like, metagaming and, like, choosing a deck, I remember Jadine Clemparens had this article. Hers is more in relation to Standard, but it was basically there's 3 different ways to approach metagaming. One is changing your deck. Another is changing the build of your deck that you want to play. And the third one is changing the way you play the deck. Sure. And with Spirits, I definitely tended towards, obviously because I never changed decks, I tended towards changing the build of the deck. And then in tournaments, when I, like, was going 6-2-1 and was, like, playing the Classic, and, like, it was basically, like, something's not right here. Like, the metagame's changing, but obviously, like, I'm not adapting with it. You know, I'm really consistent. Like, something's just, like, I'm missing that something pushing me over the edge. And I started focusing more on, like, how I play Spirits. Like, how am I approaching each matchup? And sure. I had one of my friends, Emma Handy, she had talked about this beatdown article about, like, are you the beatdown deck? I can't remember, like, who's the beatdown is, like, the name of the
who's
article.
The beatdown? Michael J?
Yes.
Michael J. Flores?
Yes. And somehow I'd never read this article before. And I remember reading it and was like, oh my gosh, like, I've just been approaching this all the wrong way. And, like, actually picking out each deck in the meta and, like,
hold on, stop for a second.
Yes.
Stop, pause. If you are the listener right now and you have not read Who's the Beatdown, Google that, Michael Flores. It is well worth the read. It is
fantastic article. It, like, changed the entire way that I viewed playing the game.
Sure. And, all right, continue.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing. It's definitely read the article. And then it changed the way I viewed the game with approaching Spirits and being like, in this matchup, so against Mardu, it seems like I just want to run all these things out. I just want to run out my creatures. It's like, you think that Spirits is like an aggro deck. It's just not. But so if you just, like, run all your creatures out against, like, Mardu or Jund, they're all just going to die and you're going to be behind. And then in Mardu, I was like, well, really, I'm supposed to be this deck that kind of, like, sits back and puts them in an awkward position, like, where I play on their end step. Like, I run out, like, 2 or 3 threats on their end step, and then they, like, try to kill them, but they're tapped out, and then I get to, like, double Drogskull Captain or something like that on my turn, and then they just can't win. And so It's like a patience game. And then, but against a deck like Humans, it's a blocking. Like, Humans and Dredge, you are on the defensive, and you're blocking until you can Alpha Strike them. Like, there's all these different ways, like, the ways I was approaching matchups was just incorrect, and when I fixed that, it was like all of a sudden I was actually winning games. And
no, absolutely,
that was something that I really felt like with Jadine's article. I was like, wow, this is a way that I can actually just keep playing Spirits. It was also like a crutch. It was like, hey, there's a way I can just keep playing the deck that I know how to play, but I can play it better, which is also still, like, an approach in my mind. Is still, like, a way to metagame.
Yeah, no, it is. That definitely is. Well, all right. I think we've touched on enough from the main topic here for our new listeners. Let's give them something fun here. Let's hop into our Mount Rushmore. For those not in the know, Mount Rushmore is a mountain in, I believe, North Dakota?
South Dakota. All right. Mm-hmm. I don't know my geography, but that's fine.
It's a mountain in South Dakota where they've carved 4 presidents' faces into the side of the mountain. And for our purposes, it's essentially a top 4 list. And we're going to give you the Mount Rushmore of our favorite things about events. So, Kat, what do you have number 1?
So my favorite one, which everyone who follows me on Twitter or anything knows this one, is hanging out with my friends. There's so many people that I've gotten so close to at tournaments. And, like, we'll see each other, like, Google Hangouts or, like, on Discord. But, like, we don't actually get to, like, hang out and just see each other between rounds and joke around. And so being able to just hang out with all of my friends that I've met at the tournaments and the other grinders is, God, it makes me so happy and makes tournaments, like, really worthwhile for me.
Oh, absolutely. And there's nothing like seeing Will's, just completely face-bald chin. So
Right.
it's just wonderful. For me, my favorite thing about going to events is actually the car ride there. I've had people tell me it is absolutely wild that I like the car ride, that it's just wrong. But I love the car ride there. It's so much fun. Everyone's happy. They probably have the day off work. We're all talking about the tournament, things we're going to play, deck decisions. I don't know. There's just like this positive energy. It's great. I love the car ride there. I love just like talking deck decisions and the feeling, the little nervous feeling you get to. It's just all of it's great.
Yeah, the anticipation where you're just like, I get to go play like 15 rounds of Magic and everyone still thinks they're all going to win the tournament.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I definitely get that. When you said the car ride there, like in the pre-show, I was just like, wait, no, like this is miserable. Driving's terrible. But like, we definitely, if you separate the car ride there from the car ride back's fucking awful.
Oh, the car ride back is the worst part of the entire event, for sure. That is the number 1 on the Mount Rushmore of worst things about events.
Especially like the whining about who has to drive is like, it drives me up the wall.
Oh, that like midnight to 3 a.m. shift, just, ugh.
That's always the one that I get to.
Oh, no.
And I'm just like, you know what? Like, this is why I'm flying. I'm flying from now on. Fuck you all. I'm flying. But I think the car ride there. And we always play, like, this game where you have to, like, name a Magic card. And what the last letter of that Magic card is, the next person has to name a Magic card that starts with that letter. And, like, we'll play dumb games like that. And it's just super fun. So I definitely get that.
That is absolutely just the best part. All right, what we got number 2, Kat?
So my number 2, as the extrovert that I am, is meeting new people. I love it. I love when, like, so if I've seen somebody around at other tournaments and I finally, like, play against them or meet, like, introduce myself, I love that. I love talking to my opponents. I do this thing, so I always write down my opponent's name, or I write down what archetype they're playing, and, like, what round number it is, because I try to, like, go through my little, like, my life pad and, like, actually force myself to remember my opponent's names, because, like, especially if we had, like, a really good game and a really good interaction. I love that. Like, one of my favorite games I've actually played recently was against Michael, who won the Indianapolis Open with Jund.
Sure.
And that was one of my, like, actual, like, most positive interactions I've had with, like, an opponent in a while. We just, like, sat there, like, joked around. Like, he works for, like, a brewery, and, like, we were just, like, talking about beer, and it was just super, super fun and super cool. And I love experiences like that, interactions like that.
Sure. And I know for me, I'm more introverted as just like just in person. I, don't necessarily go out of my way to meet new people. And when I first started going to events, I didn't really meet that many people. And then I started doing this podcast because I just love talking about Magic, Tournament Thoughtseize. And then it was amazing, like having people come up to me and be like, oh, hey, I listen to your podcast. Like that was honestly like almost life-changing experience where it's just like, oh my God, I'm getting this whole new experience at all these events I go to, getting to meet new people, talk to them, and it honestly is amazing. Like, seriously, if you ever get a chance to go up to a content creator and tell them, that you listen to their stuff, it really is just absolutely amazing. So, if you see somebody maybe you listen to or you saw a stream or you like their article, by all means, go up, say hi, tell them you liked it. It will be, it really does. It means the world to those people. So
yeah, when we were in Baltimore, one of my, it wasn't my direct opponent, but it was like 2 matches down. I was like talking to my opponent about how I streamed, and like they got like 2 matches down. I think his name was Rick. He like chimed in. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I love your stream." He's like, "I don't ever get to play Moto that much. When I actually get to like watch you and how much like fun you have, like you're really entertaining." And I was just like, "Oh my God, stop! Like I'm gonna cry. Like this means so much to me when people just, it's like overwhelming. I'm just like, oh, I get to like help people enjoy Magic, and that just means so much to me."
No, yeah, it's absolutely amazing. All right. Number 2 for me, I have the hopeful feeling the morning of that that nervous feeling you get when you wake up, like, oh, I got to win today, but I got a bunch of magic I get to play ahead of me. This is going to be so much fun. And just the car ride there, the breakfast, just all of it. I always pause, in the morning, take 5 minutes, just drink a cup of coffee where I'm just like not really talking, just kind of by myself, just, thinking. And oh man, that first cup of coffee, that whole morning, just amazing. Just love that whole feeling.
I always end up getting up at like 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. Like, I can't wake up for work to save my life at 7:30.
Sure.
But Saturday morning of a Magic tournament, you bet your ass I'm up at like 6 a.m. Super excited. I've already been downstairs, gotten coffee. Like, I'm just sitting in bed, like, going over my sideboard guide. Everyone else is still awake or waking up, or maybe I'm reading my book. But I'm just, like, pumped and ready to go. And oh my God, Saturday morning, when everything's still, like, you haven't lost yet. Everything
yes.
is like fucked up and gone downhill. You're like, God, I'm gonna win this thing. Yeah.
I am undefeated right now. This is going amazing.
This is the best this day is gonna get.
All right, what do we got number 3, Kat?
So my number 3 is actually playing paper Magic. I only get to play at tournaments. Other than that, I play Magic online. I have a couple of options of LGSs to play at, but one of them I've made the decision not to go to anymore for personal reasons, and the other one is, even though it's like fun, like I'll probably pre-release there, it ends up being much more casual. Like, it's a great scene for casual players and new players. They're fantastic. But for like the competitive, it's just not even, when I'm trying to actually practice, it's almost like not worth my time to go when I could be playing on Magic Online or reading content or streaming or something like that. So I only get to play paper Magic at tournaments, and actually getting to like draw 7 physical cards. It's just the best.
I agree with you 100%. It's amazing. My situation is a little different. I actually grew up playing at the store I play for, which is RW Hobbies. And I played there. Like, I didn't play Magic Online for a long time, and I didn't even go to tournaments for a long time. It was just playing at RW. And I got lucky that it was a competitive store where, the players there were all a lot better than me when I started. And so it was really an accomplishment to go and win an F&M or just like a Tuesday Night Modern. Just like winning any of those things was hard, and it took me a while before I could do those. And it really was like a big deal when I first started winning. And now I'm kind of to the point where it's like I can generally go win an event there if I want to. Like, if I wanted to like take it seriously and go play, a modern event, it's like not that hard for me to win it. But and that, I'm not even trying to brag. I'm sure that's right. Yikes! But so I don't. It's not really about that anymore when I go to that store. And for me, it's more casual now. But I have not missed a Tuesday Night Modern in honestly years. I love it. It's my favorite. Like, it's literally like the highlight of my week when I'm not going to events. Just getting to see the people that are there trying to get better. They're all working towards the same goal I'm working towards, and getting to see them again and update how their week's gone and just all of that. It's just. It really is a highlight, and you get to cap it off with actually playing the paper Magic, getting to pull out the cards, and just absolutely love it. When
I first started playing, I had an LGS. It was Gnome Gorilla Games, and they're the reason that I continued playing after I was first taught playing. They were 45 minutes for me, and I went 6 days a week.
Jeez, okay, that is some dedication.
Love that store. I love this game so much, and they ended up closing their doors about 7 months after I started playing. And so after that, it's like I drove like an hour and a half on Friday nights down to an F&M at a shop in Clemson. So I'm from South Carolina. I don't think I ever actually said I was from South Carolina, but sure. In Clemson, South Carolina, and like that just wasn't sustainable. And so I just basically kind of like stopped playing paper Magic and started playing a Magic Online.
Sure, but obviously the playing paper Magic is amazing. Yeah, and we both love it.
God, I miss playing it 6 days a week so much. Like, I probably would never play Magic Online if I had an LGS that was as competitive as Gnome Gorilla Games was, and I could actually like go 6 days a week.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm spoiled. I don't go to my LGS as much as I could, but I have my friends in the group chat, and I like hanging out with them too. So
that's true. Yeah.
Kind of best of both worlds there. But anyway, my number 3 on the Mount Rushmore here is the feeling of new sleeves. I don't know. I don't think a lot of people love this one as much as I do, but oh my gosh, like getting to take your sleeve out of like your card out of the old dirty sleeve and sliding it into the fresh new one, and just like getting to see how beautiful the card looks, the art, all of that, and just this fresh new sleeve is just absolutely amazing.
I am just going to have to avidly disagree with you on that one. I have like these little hands, and like when my deck is like, first of all, it's like full of air because you just re-sleeved it, and normally I double sleeve, and then like I gotta pick it up, and then there's like all of the cards just like slide around it, and then it just ends up all over my playmat, and I'm just sitting there like embarrassed and blushing, and like I promise this isn't my first open, not that you can fucking tell. It's so rough for me.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds like a disaster. That sounds horrible.
It's every open too, without fail.
So I'm telling you, you gotta go with the side loaders. The double sleeve, you go with the side loader.
I do use the side loaders, but there's still a little bit of air in there. It's just not
Yikes,
good.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds terrible. Maybe get bigger hands, I don't know.
Right? That would be the ideal fix. My number 4 is Saturday night dinner. Oh my gosh, that's the highlight. Oftentimes the highlight of my weekend is when, first of all, if you can get everyone to actually end up at the same restaurant, even if we're at 2 different tables, like if you can get everyone to end up at the same place and all of my friends together, which we'll have groups of like 20 people trying to go to the same restaurant on Saturday night.
Sure.
But to me, it's like I don't care where we go. I could actually not be able to eat anything there since like I don't eat. I'm gluten free. I don't care if I can eat there or not. If everyone's together, I'm having a great time and I'll eat a fucking granola bar. I don't care.
Sure.
But I just, it's so important to me to be able to get everyone together in one place after it, and we're all hanging out and laughing and having a great time. I love that.
No, I'm totally with you. I actually remember, I don't remember what city it was. Maybe it was like Indy or Cincinnati, I think, one of them. Maybe it was even Louisville. I don't remember, but one of the events, there was a really big, I think it's Brazilian barbecue, not barbecue, Brazilian steakhouse. Mm-hmm. It was a Brazilian steakhouse where it's like, I guess it's famous for whatever city that was. I think that was Cincy, maybe.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter. There's like a really famous Brazilian steakhouse there, or not even famous, but just like a really good one. And apparently like Magic players love that, and a lot of them would go to it. But like we didn't have any idea. We're just like, oh, we want to go to this. So it's like me and like my group of like 4 to 6 people show up there and get a table, and then you just see everybody from the event come in, and that was like one of my favorite nights like of all time at a Magic event. It was just like there's all these people I've seen from the events. There's like the guy I played in round 4 sitting over there, and we're all just like looking at each other and smiling like, yeah, we played Magic today. It was awesome.
That's fantastic. Oh, that's awesome.
And then you have like the table of 8 people where you're just sitting there. It's just great conversation. I mean, it really is a highlight to the weekend there.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like the perfect, even if you scrub out, like I went 2-5 in Baltimore, and getting to have dinner with my friends, even though some of us ditched us, getting to have dinner with my friends it's always the highlight of it. It doesn't matter how that day goes, getting to see everyone, it makes everything better. That's
fair. I think we can just, blame Brandon Dalloway here for this. That's fine.
I totally agree with this. Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Well, now that we're on the same page. My number 4 is winning. Just straight winning. It sounds a little conceited, probably, but it is just the best part. Even if you don't win that much, just when you sit down and you play and you win at a big event, it just feels so good. I mean, it is, kind of the rush you're looking for when you go. It's validation. It's, kind of everything you're looking for. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of basic, but it really is just one of the absolute best things about going to an event is sitting down, put in all this work, and then having it all pay off. And yeah, I don't know. Absolutely love it.
I totally agree. Especially when you play those games where both of y'all are playing really well and you're drawing well, it's kind of working out for you, and then you make some play to where you soul read your opponent, you know what they have, you play around it perfectly, and then they do it and you're like, fuck right, I knew it, and you just you've prepped for it, and you win the game because you were just that prepared and you played that well. Those are just the most satisfying. You're just like, God, I'm a goddess at this game, or a god, and this is why I play Magic. To me, those wins nothing tops those kind of wins.
Oh, 100%. For me, I love the 1%er where you're like, all right, I don't think I can win. And then you sit there a little bit more and you're like, all right, well, you know what? If I drew this card, this card, this card in a row, and he drew 3 lands, he or she draws 3 lands in a row, then maybe. And then like you're like, okay, well, I drew the first card I needed. Like, oh, okay, they drew land. Okay, well, all right, and well now we're it's a little more likely. You're like, okay, well, I need to draw this one, and I need to make this play just to still have any chance. And you like draw, and you're like, oh my god, this is happening. This could happen. And they're like, all right, I still need to draw land. They like rip the land. You're like, oh my god, this is happening. And then you draw the card, and you actually pull out the win. And it's like you look like you had no chance. Oh my god, those wins are so satisfying.
Yes, I totally agree. It's fun to win regardless of that. Like when your hand's just like the nuts off the get go, and they can't do anything about it. But like with the ones where you're just like your outs, you play to them, you play around what you think they have, like you can just like soul read them, and you're just like you feel like you like almost like transcended the game. Like those, God, those are the best.
Definitely. All right, well, those were our Mount Rushmores of favorite things about events. Really happy you guys joined us today. Happy to have you here. Kat, how about you tell the people where they can find you at?
So I'm on Twitter at HellcatMTG. You can also follow me on Twitch at HellcatMTG. Turns out I'm trying to make these things consistent.
Branding.
Branding is super important. I try to stream on Mondays and Thursdays on Twitch, and so any of y'all want to come hang out, that'd be awesome. I'll probably be doing spirits most of the time, but I'm definitely trying to switch it up. So we'll see. But yeah, so this is the main two ways to find me is definitely Twitter. And I want to say, like, I'm the bomb on Twitter. I put some pretty hot takes out there. I retweet some pretty bomb tweets. So if you want a good time, you should definitely follow me on Twitter.
Yes. Feel free to just tweet memes at her. It's great. Yes, great time.
Please do. Actually, I love that.
As for myself, I'm also on Twitter. You can find me at A22EN. And I do not stream, but you can find me on my other podcast at Turn 1 Thoughtseize. And, really happy you guys joined us today. If you guys have questions for us, feel free to hit us up on Twitter. If you have any show topics you want us to hit on, absolutely happy to do that. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
Yeah, Kat, can't wait to talk again.
Yes, till next time.
See you guys.